Oh, we go. Good. Okay. This first image is actually me on the left, and those are my father's paintings from, this is 1962. So I grew up in a household filled with art, and it really affected me in many ways, and I think it's kind of generational things. So my dad's an artist, I'm an artist, and my son's an artist as well. These are some of my images. These are silver bowl, large vessel. Most of my work has to do with form and line, kind of an energy type thing. But the surface is usually kind of an afterthought because it just contains the form. There isn't much detail on it, there's not color, it's just part of that. This is another vessel, you can see that same accentuation. The form is important, the line, but the surface is just sort of contains that. As a thesis project, I thought, what if I were to take some of my father's images and my son's images and kind of put those on my vessels? So this is an example of my father's work, 1950s, oil painting, beautiful energy, has a lot to do with color. When I look at my work too, even though mine's three-dimensional, I see a lot of the same energies in what I do, but he's dealing with the surface much more. He has a whole series of these paintings. This is another one from the 62. And once again, I grew up looking at these. They were all around me, and when I thought of them, I didn't really categorize them as a certain type of art. It was just what art was. It was in our house, and we lived with it. Many, many of these. This is very interesting to date. In the 48, he did sort of a series of portraits that were these abstract portraits, and you think of the time that this occurred in, it's really kind of an interesting slice of time to have that happening. A lot of abstraction, a lot to do with the surface as well, and he has literally thousands and thousands of these, he'll call them brush strokes. The thing about this work is he did it on really cheap paper usually, unfortunately, so it doesn't really survive as well. A lot of it's on Xerox paper, but he did hundreds and hundreds of these brush strokes. A lot to do with color, same energy. Next set of slides you're going to see, last one, up into 2001. This has, I really like what's going on with this image. A lot of color, and yet my work does not have color. So thinking of adding that to my work was kind of an interesting connection. This next series, these are my son's images. He's a second-year student at VCU, graphic design, and I really love a lot of what's going on with that. Abstract, just incredible work. Once again, not something that I do, so it's the color, the surface. My work has to do with form. Another one of Michael's images. And then the next one you're going to see is a detail of this. This is quite large. This is, I guess it's maybe at least 3 feet in one dimension. So when you look carefully at that surface, it's really rich with this fine detail that's going to come out in the end of this. And we use that, I say we, because my son actually assisted me. He was kind of my research assistant when we finally got to the layering of images. We both worked on the layering. This is a detail of it. So this is all ink, hand-drawn, little, meticulous, insanely detailed, actually kind of related to my planishing. When you hammer metal, you're working on the surfaces, the whole thing. Here's our work area. You can see my father's images in the back, my son Michael working diligently, and my computer here. It was really exciting to work with him because I felt this intergenerational energy that was going on where I've created artwork, my father's created artwork, he's done it, and now we're kind of creating a new invention. This is one of the new pieces. The vessel behind it is a clay vessel of mine, and we've layered it with Michael's detail from that ink drawing that you see. And it actually adds a real richness to it that I love. And I don't do that in my own work now, but I'm thinking maybe I could. Maybe it would be a new thing I could do. Here's his acrylic painting, layered over a silver vessel, which would have been that looking like those first two that you saw of mine, with the planished surface, and really exciting. Michael came up with that merge because he wanted to use his piece to go over the top of it. And I could just imagine that enameled, in wild enamels over silver would be amazing. Another one that Michael came up with his little dots on the inside, very believable. This is a silver vessel about, I guess it's about 9 inches tall or so. It's a commission piece. But once again, my work dealing more with form, and he's got this kind of detail kind of layered on top of it. So really exciting. The notion of tattoo is the same connection. It's you're taking the human form and you're adding this interesting structure over it. So I really fascinated with the notion that what I was doing was sort of tattooing my pieces. So a friend of mine, I took an image of his leg and isolated the tattoo, and then placed it onto one of my silver vessels on the left. And then on the right is my father's painting, the brushstroke painting kind of moved in there. It's what you can do digitally as a design tool is really fascinating. These exist only digitally now. The silver is a real piece, but the actual color and everything is something that occurs in the digital world. This is Mr. Zoff, that wild piece that you saw from 48-ish, layered over another silver vessel. Interesting. It's very interesting for me. It's exciting for me to think of color, because I don't really think in color, I think in form. So to add that color is important. You didn't see the original for this. This was a nude that my dad did. He was fascinated with nudes, but he didn't do that many. He liked the human form. But in his own work, it only occurred occasionally. And this is an earlier work of his, and I layered that over one of my clay vessels. A lot of iterations of this. This is only one that you see here, but I kind of changed the panels. This is a final shot, which merges that first image of my father's, the oil, on one of my silver vessels. And I love what's going on with this, because it's that connection of that energy. It really feels like a world occurring there. And I wish I could do that. Maybe I can. I don't know. I'll see. So it's kind of a design process and thinking through it. So, thank you.